Welcome to the show, everybody. My name is Mark Farzetta. This is the Farzy Show, presented by MyBookie, mybookie.ag. Just amazing to have you along for the ride. A ride that I promise you will have no knuckleballs. We will throw no knuckleballs on this program today. That much I can guarantee you. Holy Strumbo. I hate the idea of, presenting the facts, like the retrospect in hindsight, you know what I mean? Like if I told you, like one of these statements, well, if I told you that Ranger Suarez was going to have a 6-inning, 1-run performance, and beautiful that he pitched in front of his family for the first time, that's mind-boggling. And that Bryce Harper would have 2 home runs. Phillies win that game, right? Phillies win that game. They complete the sweep of the San Diego Padres. They stay unbeaten against them, and it's great. Everything's happy, and then you go into the off day, feeling great, right? Now I'm playing golf today in the Michael Barkan Open, basically is how I like to refer to it. And it's a nice off day for everybody, but unfortunately, that's not the case. The Phillies lost yesterday, and it really wasn't pretty. The bats struggled. There was a couple of stats that really jumped out to me yesterday. Usually when we talk about runners in scoring position and we're like, they're 0 for 10, whatever, that's terrible. Or they're 1 for 11, that's terrible. But it was 0 for 4 yesterday with runners in scoring position. They had 4 runners in scoring position the whole game. And then just awful shoot yourself in the foot moments in the 7th and 8th innings. Not good. Not good at all. Things coming back to bite them in the old behind, whether it's Orion Kerkering, whether it was Alec Boehm, or whether it was Brandon Marsh. And your skipper even said it after the game. It's one of those balls you just gotta go get it. You gotta get it. If you're gonna leave your feet, you gotta get it. Otherwise, it's a bases clearing triple. And with Nick Castellanos, the man that is charged with backing you up, it could very well be an inside the park grand slam. And it turned out to only be a 3-run triple. It was falling apart. To me, it looked like a team that needed that day off. And I'm not blaming the day off by any means. I'm blaming that they just weren't not geared up. They weren't ready to hit that knuckleball off Waldron yesterday. They were unable to capitalize on a huge opportunity they had in the first inning. That certainly came back to haunt them. And it was just a matter of the Phillies not having it in yesterday's game for a number of reasons. There's not one thing you can put your finger on, unfortunately. There's a number of things. And the fact that they were still in that game despite their offensive struggles, late in that game, they could have pulled out another come-from-behind victory. It was a 2-1 game, and before they let it really blow wide open, and they just didn't have that mojo with them last night due to the fact that they shot themselves in the foot and kept on making mistakes late in the ballgame. So we'll cover all that from yesterday. We'll let you hear from Rob Thompson after the Phillies dropped the third game of their 3-game series, failing to complete the sweep of the San Diego Padres. So we'll get into all that. CBS went nuts yesterday with rankings and the predictions. We'll go through some of their predictions when it comes to your Philadelphia Eagles for the upcoming NFL season. It comes to the ranking the Eagles off season. Believe it or not, CBS has 4 other teams that have had a better offseason than the Philadelphia Eagles. We'll jump into that conversation. We'll also talk about something a little bit nicer than that, which is a couple of Eagles that could be making their first Pro Bowl ever. We'll get into that talk as well. We'll jump into all that and more on today's show. Appreciate you guys joining me for this edition of the Farzy Show. So let's jump into yesterday's ball game with your Philadelphia Phillies because, like I said, it just wasn't pretty. And I don't know if I felt good going into yesterday's game, and the number one reason was because of the Ranger Suarez story. Now, before we get into the X's and O's of the game, let's just examine this for a second. So Tom McCarthy just says this, and I was like waiting for this season. I was waiting for T-Mac to say this season. So he says, Ranger Suarez family, his wife and his 2 children, are in the stands yesterday to watch Ranger Suarez pitch for the first time as a big leaguer. And I was like, hold on a second, did I miss that? For the first time this season, he means, right? No, for the first time as a big leaguer. What has Ranger Suarez been up here? 4 years? He's been pitching at the major league level? 4 years his family hasn't been able to come see him pitch at the major league level. I don't even think they've seen him in the minors because of visa issues. I hate that I'm going to be away from my family like this afternoon. You know what I mean? Like, I can't imagine. So he goes back to Venezuela, I believe, to hang out with his family, during the off season, as one should when you're not working, I guess. And the joke with, I guess, some seriousness to it was that they'd only really seen him pitch in the backyard, like staying in shape, I guess, for the regular season. Like, he doesn't play winter ball or anything like that, so they've never seen him pitch. And yesterday was the first day his wife got to be in the stands. His 2 beautiful young children were in the stands watching him pitch. And after the game, despite the fact that the Phillies lost, now Ranger had still a great game, so I don't put any of this loss on him. It was a 6 innings, 1 run performance from Ranger Suarez, typical Ranger Suarez being great. And after the game, he's disappointed about the loss. He's disappointed he didn't get his 11th win of the season and all that. But then the question started coming about the first time his family got to be in the stands for him to actually pitch. And it was like he just won the World Series. It was a beautiful thing. It was a very nice thing. I wish the Phillies could have rewarded those family members, his kids and his wife, with a win. Unfortunately, it wasn't meant to be. But that was just something throughout the rest of the game, when they would reference it, because I had no idea that this was the case. Whenever they would reference it throughout the game, I was like, wow, that's insane. And I found myself being like, okay, let's get him a win. Let's get him a win. Let's get him a win. I kept going back to it in my mind, being like, that's just bonkers, man. So Ranger goes out there and is typical Ranger Suarez. Dominant isn't the word I'd use, but like, if you're going to have a 6-inning, 1-run performance as a down game, or as a game where you might be a little off with your command of your sinker, or a little off with your curveball, that's still a pretty damn good outing for you, obviously. And Ranger Suarez goes out and does exactly that in yesterday's ballgame. They should have gotten him the win. Unfortunately for Ranger, there was 1 or 2 mistakes that he made where he wasn't able to recover, and the defense obviously didn't help him out in the early goings of the ball game, just like they didn't help him out in the later innings in the ball game. So first inning, he goes out there, he gives up the single to Profar. That's it. That's the only blemish in the first inning. Then he comes out there in the second inning, and this is where he gave up that only mistake. He threw a sinker to Jackson Merrill, who got it at about middle of the plate, blasted it 410 feet to right field for the home run. He just got all of it. It made a mistake, and he capitalized on it. Simple as that. It's a 1-0 ball game. All of a sudden, the Phillies go out there in the third inning, and they get a home run from Bryce Harper to make you feel like, oh, my goodness gracious, something. All right, let's get it going here. Something could happen. You're going to get a home run off Waldron. Hopefully they crack the code of the knuckleball, and all will be right after this. Unfortunately, for the rest of the team, Harper guessed right. Now, fortunately, because they got a run, unfortunately, it was because it didn't crack the code, unfortunately, right there, of the knuckleball. It was a sinker that Bryce Harper got, first pitch sinker. That was the only offense the Phillies got for a long time until Bryce Harper's next home run. He goes up there, he ties it up on that first pitch sinker, hits it 392 feet to left center field for his 16th home run of the season, but the Phillies are on the board. In the early goings of the third inning, there was that double off the wall from a rise. That was another mistake there by Ranger Suarez. But he's able to get out of that. No problem. No harm, no foul. It was a 1-out double. Doesn't come around to bite the Phillies in the butt. Then he goes on to the 5th inning, gives up the leadoff single to Merrill. Then he gets the double play on the line out to shortstop. That was good. Harper was able to win the race to the bag on that to make sure that they got the, I think it was Merrill doubled up off first base, so that was good. Wade tries bunting. He pops that up to Bryce Harper at first base. Still a 1-1 ball game. Now you go into the 6th inning, and this is where he had a lot of trouble with Ranger Suarez. Now, nothing came back to bite him in this inning, but he was able to get himself out of a little bit of a jam. Arise grounds out to first base. Tatis gets the infield single just off the mound past Ranger Suarez, and Stott was unable to make the play, despite putting a great throw on the ball where he was drifting into center field, really into left field at this point, and he made a great throw, was unable to get him. Then Profar goes up there. Machado gets the infield single. The single to right field It was an 0-2 pitch that Ranger lost them on. So now you got 2 runners on base. You got 2 outs, first and second with 2 outs. And this is where Ranger was masterful. This is where Ranger really dialed in. And there's an opportunity here where something's brewing for the Padres, and Ranger Suarez goes up there against Solano, and he throws Solano a gorgeous 12-6 huge hook curveball to get him flailing at it to strike him out to end the threat there in the 6th inning. The problem was that his pitch count got up to 94, and that's when he was done. So the Phillies decided to go to the bullpen. It's still a 1-run game, or still a 1-1 game. Then they go to the 7th inning. They bring in Orion Kerkering. He hits Merrill with the pitch. This is a mistake that comes back to bite him. We got 1 out. They get Kim to ground out to third. Merrill gets hit by the pitch. So you got a runner on. Then you get the strikeout. I'm going to say this name correctly. These names are usually easy for me. Higashioka. Okay. He strikes out. Wade gets a single to center field. He got 2 runners on, and then one of the best hitters in baseball, especially since he was traded to the Padres from the Marlins. Luis Suarez goes up there. He gets the RBI single to right field. Just like the Machado hit, it was an 0-2 count. Well, this one was a 1-2 count, so Ranger was up in the count again. He throws the sweeper, but he puts it up in the zone. Arise capitalizes on it, puts it in the right field for the RBI single. It's a 2-1 ball game at this point. Then he gets Tatis. Orion Kerkering is able to get Suarez, not Suarez. Orion Kerkering puts it up in the zone. Arise puts it in the right field for the RBI single. Then Tatis grounds out to second on a great play by Bryson Stott to get out of that inning. 2-1 ball game at that point. Still 1-run game. No big deal. Until the 8th inning. This is where things got nuts. All right? You want to get nuts? This is where things got nuts. Sir Anthony Dominguez is pitching at this point for the Phillies. Profar gets a single to right field on a 1-2 slider. Again, he was up in the count. A Phillies pitcher was up in the count. Gives up another one of the best hitters in the game right now, Profar. He goes up there, gets a single to right field on a 1-2 slider. Machado grounds out on a great play by Alec Boehm charging the ball. Fires to first. First base umpire, the infamous Scott Barry, calls Manny Machado out. Upon further review, he was safe. So now Machado's on base. You got your first 2 runners on. This ball's not hit hard at all. It's overturned. Then Sir Anthony Dominguez strikes out Solano on a slider in the dirt. Kim goes up there. He reaches on an error thanks to a pinch runner. Azakar runs in front of Alec Boehm while he's trying to field this ball off the bat of Kim. Boehm misses a couple of screenshots of the ball, a couple of frames of the ball, I should say, then misses the ball. So now you got runners on, and you're in a lot of trouble. You're in a heaping pile of trouble with the bases loaded and 1 out. So with the bases loaded in a 1-run ball game, Rob Thompson finds it best to go to Gregory Soto. Hey, I don't know about you, but in a most critical part of the game, I don't know about you, but at that point, I really want to go, I need Gregory Soto right now, right? So Rob Thompson decides to go to Gregory Soto. He brings in Gregory Soto. Gregory Soto, to his credit, right away, boom, first out. He gets it out. Pop up to Edmundo Sosa, who's in shallow left field for a late infield fly rule. So now you got the bases loaded and you got 2 outs. Oh, my goodness gracious. Are you about to get out of this, Gregory Soto? 2 outs, bases loaded. Let's go, baby. Make everybody feel good about you. But no, he Soto's the hell out of it. Higashioka comes up, hits a liner to center field. So, yeah, let's just keep track right here, okay? The Boehm misplay. Oh, well, let's go on. Orion Kerkering hits Merrill, who later comes around to score. Then Boehm has the error there at first. Third. A couple of overturn calls, right? And then bases are loaded. 2 outs. Gregory Soto is pitching to Higashioka, and Higashioka lines it to center field, and Brandon Marsh, perfectly explained after the game by Rob Thompson. I fully agree with it. This is a do or die. It's the classic case to all the little leaguers out there. If you're going to dive for this ball, if you're going to leave your feet for this ball in this situation, 2 outs, bases loaded, you better be right. This play better end with the ball in Brandon Marsh's mitt. And I'm watching Brandon Marsh coming on. I'm watching him coming on. I see him leave his feet, and I go, he's got it. He's going to get it. It's Brandon Marsh. He's a smart player. He's going to get it. Misses it, goes under his mitt, rolls past him to center field. And I'm like, Nick Castellanos, please, God, get over there. Get over there. He gets over there in time to hold it to just a triple, but it's a 3-run, bases clearing triple. Phillies go from a 2-1 deficit to a 5-1 deficit, just like that. And it felt like, unlike last night, where it felt like something special could happen, it really felt like 2 nights ago, it felt like something. It didn't feel like anything special was going to happen. It felt like it. Even in the bottom of the 8th inning, when Bryce Harper stepped to the plate and hit his 17th home run of the season, second of the game, to make it a 5-2 game, I went, yeah, no. Still don't feel like the mojo's out there. And Robert Suarez returned back to being the great closer that he normally is in the bottom of the 9th inning, so the Phillies didn't get anything going there, unfortunately. Brandon Marsh did come to the plate in the bottom of the 9th inning with a chance of some form of redemption. And it wasn't happening. He struck out on a 100-mile-per-hour fastball, and it was just like, see you later. And that was that. And the Phillies weren't able to pull it off. Now, my first bad feeling about this game and the direction it was going to go, unfortunately, had to do with the bottom of the first inning. Bottom of the first inning. This was like the warning sign, because this is exactly how it feels. Bottom of the first inning, Kyle Schwarber leads off with a walk. Bryson Stott gets a double, a smacked, hard-hit double down the right field line, something that has not happened a lot for Bryson Stott lately. Even his game-tying single the previous night in the bottom of the 9th inning, it was an inside-out pitch, not hit hard, just blooped it out there to left field, dropped the barrel of the bat, went up the pitch, the whole thing, whatever. That was great, but, it's not hard hit. This one, he pulled it down the right field line beautifully. You got a runner on second and third. You got nobody out to start things off. Let's go, baby. This Phillies lineup is at least getting a run out of this, or at least a run. They're getting 2 runs out of this. Unfortunately, one of the moments there of Bryce Harper hitting a home run did not come with these 2 runners on base. As he came to the plate with a runner on second and third and nobody out in the first inning, Harper popped out. I'll use the term popped out. He didn't fly out. He popped out to shallow center field. So nobody's tagging. There's no productive out. Nothing. So second and third with 1 out. Alec Bohm then gets hit by a pitch. You got the bases loaded. You got 1 out. You got the red-hot Nick Castellanos coming up. You got Brandon Marsh coming up. Oh, you're going to make something happen here. Productive outs, baby. Castellanos strikes out on a knuckleball. And then Brandon Marsh lines out to right field. So they missed that opportunity in the first inning. Okay, that's not going to come back to bite them. They're going to get more opportunities. This Phillies team, they did not. Runner in scoring position, Schwarber, Stott. Those were your first 2 runners in scoring position. And that was it for a while, for a very, very good while. Wow, yeah, 0 for 4. Yeah, that was pretty terrible. After the game, Rob Thompson on whether or not Brandon Marsh should have left his feet in that 8th inning, and also what a day off means to this Phillies ball club.
I think so. Yeah. He slid after he did leave his feet, right? Yeah. Well, I think so. I mean, that's kind of a do or die play. Gotta go get it.
Is it different when you're trailing as opposed to leading?
Yeah.
What did Alec have to do to make that play that ended up being an error that led to 3 unearned runs?
Well, the runner got in front of him. He lost sight of the ball, so not much you can do about it.
Excited for a day off?
Yeah, I think it's well-deserved for everybody, really. I think looking forward to it, and it's good to get back on the winning side of a series. It's a difficult loss today, but we won the series, and hopefully that's a trend.
That is that's certainly something you could take away from this series is that, Ranger Suarez was still pitching great. I think he lowered his ERA 0.02 of a point from 177 to 175. I think that's how it went. So that's good. That's a nice thing. However, I know we've grown accustomed to the Phillies just being great this year. And that's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot. It's right. We're all having a good time. Right. But speaking of good times here, Ranger Suarez, keep it on him for a second here. Solid stats yesterday on NBC Sports Philadelphia. Lowest ERA in his first 15 starts of the season since 1915. Ranger Suarez 1.75 ERA through his first 15 starts is the fourth lowest ERA. It's lower than Steve Carlton's in 1980. All right. So here's the order. Grover Cleveland Alexander in 1916 had a 1.38 ERA through his first 15 starts. Then in the previous year to that, he had a 1.53 ERA in 1915. And then Woody Fryman in 1968 at a 1.61 ERA. Old Woody Fryman, 1968. And then Ranger Suarez this year at 1.75. Steve Carlton, 1.78 in 1980. So, since Squeaky O'Houlihan in 1915. But, I guess Grover Cleveland Alexander is still a pretty old name sounding. I don't need to make up my name of Squeaky O'Houlihan. But anyway, so pretty great start. 15 starts now for Ranger Suarez, and he's pretty amazing. Oh, and in the midst, he's taken a 106-mile-per-hour comebacker off his pitching hand, and not missed a beat, baby. So I know we've grown accustomed to the Phillies just being dominant and being awesome, and I know we've also grown accustomed to this. Well, you're not gonna win them all. You're not gonna win them all, right? We can say that. Right? We're not going to win them all. Well, the Phillies haven't been winning them all. One of the things that does happen, unfortunately, no matter who you are, no matter what team you are, no matter what fan base you are, is when your team is doing great and they're putting up historical numbers and you're referencing years like 1915 for crying out loud, one of the things that's going to happen is you're going to hit a bit of a wall. It happens to everybody. You're going to have a stretch where all of a sudden you lose 6 of 10. Just like the Phillies have right now. You're going to lose back-to-back games on more than one occasion. I've referenced this before. But the Phillies now, after going over a month without losing back-to-back games, have now lost a few back-to-back games. I mean, you're going back to the road trip they had in Colorado. You lost back-to-back games there. San Francisco, you lost back-to-back games there. London, you lost, and then you split that series. And then you came back to Boston where you lost back-to-back games. Then you went to Baltimore where you lost back-to-back games. And then you win back-to-back games against San Diego Padres. And you got the sweep right there. You got your ace, your best pitcher this season on the mound with his family in the stands for the first time ever, waiting for this magical moment. And he pitches 6 innings of 1-run baseball, and you come up with 2 runs. And a boatload of misplays. Cool. Good, great, grand. The Phillies have lost 6 of 10. The Braves have won 6 of 10. The New York Mets have now won 8 of 10. And the Marlins, well, they still suck at baseball. They've lost 7 of 10. So the Phillies being like the hottest team in baseball? No. Phillies have 49 wins. They're still sitting on 49 wins. The Yankees, the only team with over 50 wins. They have 51 wins. They lost to the Baltimore Orioles yesterday in extras in Garrett Cole's return after dealing with an elbow injury. So that happened. So I don't want to – I know the Phillies are having this amazing season, and I am enjoying the hell out of this season that the Phillies are able to put together. But – just in terms of a reality, I don't want to use reality. Reality check. Why not? Reality check of the Phillies. Okay, we're past the idea of they're not going to win them all because they haven't won them all. They've won a lot, like second most in all of baseball, most in the National League. So that is good. That's great. I was reading somebody's comments on the postcast. I think it was after the second Orioles loss. So it was after game 3 against the Orioles. And it was an Orioles fan. And it was like, Orioles fan here, stop whining. You guys have 48 wins. Or at the time it was 47 wins. 47 wins. Stop whining. I'm like, well, yeah, but the postgame is just a postcast to talk about that game. That's literally every post-game show you do. For the young kids out there that are doing, they want to do something like this, right? It's every day is you're 1-0 or you're 0-1. It's really all that matters. And that's how you have to do the show. And I'm enjoying it. But, I mean, a little bit of an okay check. Is it okay? Let's go back in your minds, edit out when I said reality check. Here's what I'll say. Heat check. Which is appropriate for the insanely hot weather we're going to be having over the next couple of days. Heat wave up here in the Philadelphia area. Okay? Heat check. That's what we got. That's what we got with the Phillies right now. This 10-game stretch, a little bit more than that, you're 4-6 in the last 10 games. You losers. Bunch of losers. One other thing from the Phillies yesterday, this kind of brought this argument up now. It's like, did the Phillies do the right thing, sending down Johan Rojas? Let me answer that. No, they didn't do the right thing. They did what unfortunately, this was not a desire of the Phillies to send down Johan Rojas. This was kind of a had to. Like, Trey Turner came back. You had to open a roster spot. Pache you can't send down. The only other option I think would have been releasing David Dahl. And, he's actually done well for you. So they're not going to do that. They need help off the bench when it comes to a bat. So they didn't do that. The only thing they could do is send down Johan Rojas. We need him to work on his bunting. Okay. Yeah, you're out of options is what you're out of, literally and figuratively. And then yesterday, oh, God, what was he? I think it must have been over 4, right? Rafael Marchand in yesterday's game. Deep bop, 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 dop, bop. Over 3, Miss Scuzzi. Rafael Marchand yesterday, 0-for-3 in the ballgame. He didn't strike out, which was good, but I did feel really bad for him going up against the knuckleballer before the London trip. Rafael Marchand had not been in the big league since 2021, and now he's going to face a knuckleballer at the big league level. Good luck to you. Hey, go catch the best pitcher in baseball and then go hit a knuckleballer. Have at it, son. Go get him. Rough day for him. So Phillies, looking ahead, Phillies are going to take on the Arizona Diamondbacks, a team that I now hate thanks to last year. I think they're still waiting to name a starter for today's game, but Taijuan Walker gets the ball for the Phillies. Taijuan Walker, by the way, coming in off a start against the Baltimore Orioles, 5 2/3, 3 runs, womp womp. And then before that, obviously, the London start, 5 2/3 as well, allowing 2 runs. Like, these are the Taijuan Walker starts you can live with. But the Phillies got to be able to hit the baseball to make everybody feel warm and fuzzy inside. Let's move on. Talk a little football. So during this time, we always say the same thing. This time of the year, the 6 weeks that you have between the end of mini camp and the start of training camp is 2 things. Ready? 1, don't do anything stupid. Everyone, don't do anything that would hurt the team in some way, shape, or form. Don't do anything stupid. All right? Don't get in trouble with the law. Don't do anything stupid. Very simple. Number 2, it's list season, ladies and gentlemen. Good news or bad news first? Let's start with the bad news. And whenever somebody asks you, here's some more life advice for you. Whenever somebody asks you good news or bad news, right? Always say bad news first. It helps. That way you have something to look forward to after they tell you, all right, good news or bad news with your car, sir? Bad news. Oh, we have to impound it. Oh, great. What's the good news? I can give you a great discount on this automobile. Whatever. Bad example. Sorry. Ranking the NFL teams who had the best off season. I thought it was unanimous that it was the Eagles who had the best off season. However, Josh Edwards, CBS Sports, CBS NFL on CBS, he ranks it as the Philadelphia Eagles having the 5th best offseason. First thing I noticed in this top 10 list, Dallas Cowboys, as one would expect, nowhere near it. The Bears had the best offseason. The Cardinals had the 2nd best offseason. The Steelers, adding essentially 2 quarterbacks in Justin Fields and Russell Wilson, they had the third best offseason. The Texans, 4th best offseason, and Stephon Diggs being a big part of that, obviously. And then the Philadelphia Eagles with Saquon Barkley. And then their 2 draft picks. I found that interesting for the Eagles here. Saquon Barkley, Cooper DeJean, and Quenyon Mitchell are your top 3 reasons for why the Eagles have had the 5th best off season, according to the NFL on CBS, as written by Josh Edwards of the NFL on CBS. Look, it's hard to argue with some of these acquisitions. The Bears are betting a lot on one position here, in essence, okay? The Cardinals, meh. The Steelers, I am not a Russell Wilson fan. I'm out on Russell Wilson. I don't think he's going to revamp the Steelers by any means. So I don't see that. The Texans, yes, they had a pretty bang-up offseason. I think that's the one team that I could really see. Yeah, that definitely competes with what the Eagles have been able to do in this offseason. But I found it really interesting that in an offseason where you had so many guys retire, you're still considered in the top 5, which is still great. You lose your leader on defense in Fletcher Cox. You lose your leader on offense in Jason Kelce. One surefire Hall of Famer, another, we'll have to wait a minute in Fletcher Cox. But the big acquisition are your 2 corners that you took in the 1st and 2nd round. With Saquon Barkley, obviously, thrown in the mix as well. So this is where it gets a little bit more interesting here. They went on, and this was Cody Benjamin of NFL on CBS. 20 candidates. They provide 20 candidates for the first-time Pro Bowl selections. And you see right there at the defensive tackle position, Jalen Carter predicted to get his first Pro Bowl nod this season. I think we're all for that. Also, Bryce Huff predicted to get his first Pro Bowl nod this season. The $52.5 million man for your Philadelphia Eagles, recently signing that deal. Now, coming off the 10-sack season, we can all look at the numbers and say how great they are. I love Jalen Carter being on that list. I think that's phenomenal. I think that's the best bet. The curious move there is the Bryce Huff deal. The Bryce Huff's name being mentioned as a first-time Pro Bowler. Because what it reminded me of when I saw his name on that list was, okay, first off, hell yeah, love for him to be able to earn a Pro Bowl spot and under his first big contract, first year with the Eagles. Hopefully he gets 15 sacks this season, you know? But then it made me go back to Vic Fangio's comments during minicamp when he was asked about Bryce Huff stepping up his role, going from a 40% of the snaps player to a 70% of the snaps player, similar to that of the man he's in essence being asked to replace, who is Hassan Reddick. When Vic Fangio was asked about it, he acted like this guy that just signed this $50 million plus deal was trying out for the team. If you would have taken away the name and said, who is he talking about? It would have been, an undrafted rookie. That's who he's talking about. No, it's a 3-year, $50 million plus defensive end or edge rusher, right? Who's coming off a 10-sack season in the New York Jets. And everyone says he's got all this potential in the world after one great season. And that's who you signed. That's who you gave all the money to. And Vic Fangio's talking about him like he's an undrafted rookie edge rusher. Can he play more than 50% of the snaps? That's the one that I look at again on this list, and I go, all right, I hope so. because of all the great acquisitions and all the offseason that the Eagles have had. The guy I'm so very curious to see how he can actually perform with this great promotion where the Philadelphia Eagles are asking him to not only do a hell of a lot more, but they're also asking him to earn the deal that he signed. It's a bit of a dice roll, folks. It's a bit of a dice roll because I could see our great concern, our great complaint, I should say, 5 or 6 weeks into the season going, Bryce Huff could do one thing. He's a one-trick pony. And this is the guy that we're asking to replace Hassan Reddick. And I know Hassan Reddick is looking for that new deal. Okay, I think we all realize that now, and I realize that, and I was one of the first people to be like, okay, so hold on a second. Same money? They're just trading him. They're just letting him go, and he's going to play for the Jets. He's still playing under the same money. Well, maybe you're not playing under the same money now. So maybe Howie did see that coming. And then I think we could all talk about how great this would be for Jalen Carter to make his first Pro Bowl. And one of my major takeaways so far, just from OTAs and minicamp, is the idea of Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis. Now, Jordan Davis not on this list, but Jalen Carter understanding the request being made of him. He understands, him and Jordan Davis both understand the role they're being thrust into right now. And it keeps going back in my head, and it's the Jordan Davis line. Nobody's coming to save us. Fletcher Cox isn't here. This is their team. This is their defensive line. And I know if Jalen Carter makes that Pro Bowl, he'll get a lot of attention, as we all know. And it'll also validate how we really felt about him, especially through his first rookie season, especially the first 11, 12 weeks of him being a professional, NFL level defensive tackle. After that, one more Eagles name, both on the defense as well. How about this? Chauncey Gardner-Johnson would have obviously been a Pro Bowler in his 1 year with the Philadelphia Eagles, as he was leading the NFL at the time that he went out with that injury in 2022. Would have obviously been a Pro Bowler. He had 6 interceptions, still ended the season in a 4-way tie for most interceptions, but was having a Pro Bowl year, missed 4 weeks of the season, and still finished that season with a share of the lead, a 4-way share of the lead in interceptions. But CBS, NFL and CBS is predicting Chauncey Gardner-Johnson will make his first Pro Bowl. And how about that? Rasul Douglas, to see his name on there. I was not an anti-Rasul guy. I liked Rasul Douglas. I thought he competed every single down, never gave up. I appreciated that about him. But Chauncey Gardner-Johnson making his first Pro Bowl, hell yeah. So you know what that means? It means that Vic Fangio, if you're using Bryce Huff, Jalen Carter, and Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, and you're coaching them to their first ever Pro Bowls as predicted by CBS, that means you've done a good job. That means that defense is going to look pretty good if you have 3 Pro Bowlers just emerging as Pro Bowlers for the first time under Vic Fangio and the Vic Fangio scheme. Throughout the rest of the list, just looking at the guys here and seeing all the guys that are defensive players, obviously, is a good thing and a good sign for this Eagles defense. And I can't wait to see it come to fruition. I'm itching for it, is what I'm doing. I'm absolutely itching for it. I think most of us are itching for it as well. One more thing before we get to our chat check. I saw Brian Windhorst yesterday talk about your 10-9-8 76ers. OG Anunoby, according to Brian Windhorst, most people expect him to go back to the New York Knicks. However, there's a lot of time to negotiate here. And the Sixers have been rumored to have interest. The Magic could also have interest in OG Anunoby. I'm still curious to see what a reunion would be like with him and Nick Nurse, and obviously what he could bring to the table. He has been injured a lot. The Sixers need someone they could rely on. He could score, obviously, plays an aggressive style of basketball. As I mentioned, Nick Nurse has experience with him. I do like, and I'm very much intrigued by what he could bring to the table. I still look at this Sixers season, this offseason, as, they're going to add a big name. I really feel like they missed the boat on Drew Holiday for so many reasons. And I felt like that before Drew Holiday won a championship with the Celtics. From a not even nostalgia, but from a kind of turn back time move. If you could ever reverse the process, the only way to do that would be the guy that started the process, and that's Drew Holiday. And I thought that might wipe away some karma. I'll believe in anything right now just to believe in the Sixers. Oh, man, please. You could sell me so much swampland right now just to have me believe in the Sixers again. It's ridiculous. But as they go through this offseason, I know the names like LeBron are out there and Paul George and all that. Is it that crazy to think that the number one thing I would love to see the Sixers really add is a really good backup center? Is that just insane? Because that's what they really need. I mean, not that the goal is to get out of the first round of the playoffs, not that determines a successful season or not. But good Lord, they're at least out of the first round of the playoffs with at least a serviceable backup center. I mean, think about that. Like, one thing, as I continue to go down the rabbit hole of the Sixers being terrible and disappointing, it's like, wow, if you could have just spelled Joel Embiid a game or two, how much would that have done for him? Maybe then you get out of the second round of the playoffs. You're right, you weren't getting out of the second round of the playoffs. But maybe. But as they go through this offseason, my number one thing is mostly the glue guys as opposed to the next big piece. You know, I'm more concerned about filling out the rest of the roster, and you have the money to do it. Like, I want to see Kelly Oubre back here. I'd love to see that backup center be able to back up Joel Embiid with serviceable minutes. Like, I look back on all the moves the Sixers have made since they started to really try to win, and I'm like, damn it, Jimmy Butler. And that one makes sense, the most sense. But then right after that, I'm like, damn it, Andre Drummond. Damn it. Like, I'm pining for Andre Drummond. That's where I'm at as a Sixers fan. And that's what I call sad. Very, very sad. So the latest on the OG Anunoby stuff is from Brian Windhorst on ESPN yesterday, saying that most of the league expects OG to go back to the Knicks. But right now, OG is not thrilled, was the word. Thrilled with what the Knicks are offering right now. And that's the way that looks. Hey, how about the Game Time app? You like the Game Time app? Download the Game Time app to your phone. Use promo code Farzy and get $20 off your first purchase on the Game Time app. Phillies, they got the series coming up with the Diamondbacks in South Philadelphia. You want to go to a game? Game Time app. Tomorrow night, they're going to be honoring Cole Hamels. Don't you want to be in the stands for that? Here's your choice. You could go to the game, or you can watch it on Apple TV. Yeah, I think I'd rather be at the game, too. But anyway, you can go to the game, and you can use Game Time app. Download the Game Time app to your phone, create an account, use promo code Farzy, get $20 off your first purchase with the Game Time app. It's just that easy. The Game Time app allows you to view your seat before you buy it so you know exactly what you're buying, and you can take the guesswork out of buying tickets. They also have this, the Game Time Guarantee. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less money on another site, Game Time will refund your account 110% of the difference. That 10% say, Miss Scusi. All right. But it's also guaranteeing you that you get the guaranteed lowest price. How about that? They got last minute ticket deals, flash ticket deals. And, you know, if you're going to a sporting event, a concert, a comedy show, whatever the case might be, on the Game Time app, you can even buy tickets an hour after the event starts for mega huge kajunga savings with the Game Time app. So download the Game Time app to your phone, create an account, use promo code Farzy, and get $20 off your first purchase on the Game Time app. How about the amazing people at MyBookie? MyBookie.ag. Download the app, create an account, use promo code Farzy, and get up to $1,000 redeemable cash bonus at MyBookie. MyBookie.ag. Want to bet on the world of baseball? Want to bet on the world of hockey? Sergei Bobrovsky. You can do that with MyBookie. MyBookie.ag. Even the world of politics. You can do it at MyBookie. MyBookie.ag. Even the world of television on MyBookie. MyBookie.ag. Download the app, create an account, use promo code Farzy, and get, how about this? Get up to $1,000 redeemable cash bonus at mybookie.ag. How about PHL Sports Nation, Philadelphia Sports Nation, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience across all social media and blogs? That's phlsportsnation.com. Let's get into the chat check and see how wonderful people are doing on this fine Thursday morning. Computer's a little slow today. Major issues before I started the show, and now seems to be rearing its ugly head again. Jason A, good morning. April, what's popping? Sean Kilrain, what's going on? Buddy Christ. How are you, Buddy Christ? IBH, what's going on? James Alexander, what do you got? Good morning. On vacation right now in Orlando. Thanks for keeping me part of your routine, even on vacation, James Alexander III. I'm not upset about the fact that we lost the Phillies, that is. As long as we've taken 2 or 3 in the series, that's all that matters. Fair enough. Fair enough. Jason, that's sad, but hey, Ranger deserves it. Absolutely, Ranger deserves it. I couldn't imagine, man. You know what else he said yesterday? Because he was asked about it. I don't know what Father's Day looks like in Venezuela. Okay. But Father's Day in general, like if you work in America, I'm sure you understand what Father's Day is. The day to celebrate being a dad, Like, he's at work every Father's Day. He's got 2 young kids. That sucks. Rob Thompson was actually really cool about it after the game. I mean, not as you would expect anything else, but Rob Thompson was asked about it, and he just said, I was in the minors for a long time, and you miss your family. Like, that's really hard. That's really hard. And you see other guys, international players that aren't seeing their families for months at a time. Like, when T-Mac dropped that on yesterday's broadcast, like I said, I was waiting for this season, right? I was like, no, never. I'm like, that's what? Sean Gillespie, good morning. Oh, and then he was talking about Father's Day and just how great it was to have his family was around for Father's Day. And then I was thinking about it. I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. Yeah, I've seen all these other players with their families and, pictures of JT Realmuto, Bryson Stott, all these guys with their families. Kyle Schwarber had a big event last night. And he's with his family. And I'm like, yeah, I've never seen Ranger Suarez with his family. And then until yesterday. In hindsight, Sean Kilrain, I agree with you. The Topper should have left Ranger in. 94 pitches. And Ranger didn't look extremely sharp yesterday. Kerkering had a great outing 2 nights ago. I don't fault him for going into it. And it wasn't like Kerkering got blown up. Now, again, you could throw my own philosophy back at me where if you let Ranger go one more inning, then you push Kerkering to the 8th, assuming all goes well in the 7th. And then you might not have to see Gregory Soto at any point. And that's the other thing. Here's where I don't mind the philosophy, Sean. I understand the question, and I think it's definitely reasonable. But Kerkering didn't get blasted. Dominguez didn't even get blasted. These were all, softly hit balls, basically. And the big hit was also compounded. Like, 2 things had to go wrong. Soto had to get, Soto, either way, no matter what happens, Soto's giving up with 2 outs in that spot. Soto's giving up a 2-run single, at least. So 1 more run scored in that inning, unfortunately. But yeah, I could see it. But at 94 pitches, I didn't expect it. And plus, I like giving the ball to Kerkering, especially after his last outing. But I understand the question. Sean Gillespie. So what I'm saying is, no, I was fine with what happened, but I can see why you'd ask that. It's too hot. That's why the Phillies lost. Milk was a bad choice. Sorry. Twiz, what's going on, Twiz? How are you? Come on, computer. Compute. There we go. Daz, good morning. Or no, Twiz, good morning. Daz, morning, fellas. Morning, Daz. Daz, Waldron's such a pain in the butt. Knuckleballers are OP. Yeah, that's not great. Crimson Vance. I like that name. Why isn't dumbest first name ever Domingo? Oh, come on. Sir Anthony's a pretty badass name. Pitching in Lehigh, him, Ruiz, and Walker are just too inconsistent and pitch like garbage more often than not. Fair enough. Daz, Fars, do you write down every play? I'll show you what I do. This is what I do to take my notes. I have it on a different computer, so I can't put it up on the screen professionally. Let's see if I can get this going for you guys. Let me see if I can do this real quick. For the people on the podcast, this is riveting, I know, for podcast listeners, but here's what I do. You're going to want to see this at the 51-minute mark of the program. You're really going to want to see this. So I don't even know if you could tell this. Can you get this? Are we getting this? Yeah. There we go. Yeah. So basically, it's a Google Doc. And yeah, every play is written down. No, you're not really getting that. So people on the podcast, don't even bother. But yeah, and I write my little descriptions. Like, for instance, Harper's home run, first pitch, sinker, middle of the plate, 392. Automatic strike. Arise, hit it off the wall for his double. Just to help paint a better picture when I'm recapping everything in the postcast. And for you beautiful people. Kim E5, when he reached in the 8th inning, Azakar throws off Bohm. I can write that down, you know. They're meticulous. Dad's Phillies Orioles World Series. I was 1 year old. I was almost exactly. Yeah, I was a little over a year old when that actually happened in 1983. Big World Series in my house. As you guys know, my mom's from Balmer. My dad's from Ambler. And I'm from Ambler. Robert Goldstein, what's going on? Oh, calling out Crimson Vance. Dominguez has been really good, and he has for the last month. Did you see the infield hit and the error? They are not at fault of the pitcher. The only thing I fault the pitcher for is that either way, Gregory Soto has given up a 2-run single. Go Sixers. What's up, Go Sixers? What does Marsh do well? What does Marsh do really well? Excuse me. I'm still trying to figure it out. Marsh, for the most of the time, is a really good fielder. The first at-bat of the game, Arise hits a tailing line drive to center field. Marsh closed the gap on it, made the catch. Like, he's a good center fielder. He made a dumbass decision. If you're going to do that, you got to come up with it. Simple rule. He did not. In that he failed. Plus, he's versatile. I don't mind Brandon Marsh. I will defend Brandon Marsh. Sean Kilrain, keep banging the drum, brother. Kyle Tucker, Mason Miller, trade deadline. See, okay, so yesterday, your boy, Nicky Walkoff, Nick Castellanos, not a great game yesterday from the plate, especially in that first inning that I referenced where he had an opportunity to help get the Phillies on the board early. Cassie actually yesterday, one of the few Phillies that got a hit. He was 1 for 4, so there you go. That's something. And he struck out twice. But yeah, like I said, Castellanos got to keep this going. I need a solid month out of Nick Castellanos to make me really believe that he's actually turned something around. Sean Kilrain, Waldron has a pretty knuckleball that we just couldn't hit. It's all good. Bring on the Arizona. Hell yeah. Ooh, Daz, I love this. Orioles are going to catch the Yankees and beat them. Better club. Love it. Go Sixers. Marsh gets a hit a month and people love him. I know. Must be the hair. Joey Fields, what's going on? Need to address Soto and Ruiz at the trade deadline. Yeah. I would like Soto to never touch the ball. And Ruiz has been good up until recently. What was it? second Orioles game he got hit. Daz with Mason Miller. Hell yeah. Mia Sanchez. What's going on? Good morning, everyone. Offense except Harper had a bad day yesterday. It happened. Sweep the Diamondbacks and make a statement. Also, rest in peace to Willie Mays. It's very nice of you. Very nice of you, Mia Sanchez. Sean Kilrain, Andre Drummond, I'd like to see back, but I don't know the options for him. Yeah. Floating out ideas for the deadline. Dad, I admire the discipline, Fars. Thank you. I love that you're spelling it with a PH. That's hilarious. Yeah, man. No, I'm just an idiot, and I won't remember anything. I really do admire the people that can watch a game, and then they just like recall everything. I can't do that. I have to put a little trigger for the memory in the notes. Otherwise, I won't remember it. Plus, like if you go back on ESPN's play-by-play and you look at it, it still doesn't make sense to me. And if a player has two errors, then I'll mix up what error, like what happened. Like let's say Bohm had two errors yesterday, or let's say that the Bohm throw that he actually made a good play on to try to get Machado, where he was originally called out but then overturned. I'm like, wait, was that with the play where Azekar ran in front of him, or was that the play that he dropped the ball? Like I'll mix it up in my idiot brain. So in my idiot Family Guy brain, I got to make sure that I have this all together, all nice. Thanks everybody in the chat. You guys are wonderful as per usual. Let's get to the morning rush brought to you by Sky Motor Cars, SkyMotorCars.com. Phillies are back at it tomorrow after this much needed day off. They take on the Arizona Diamondbacks, 6:40 start time. Tomorrow night, Cole Hamels will have his retirement ceremony. Flash Gordon was in the booth yesterday. I really enjoyed Flash Gordon in the booth. He was great. I thought he was great. Taijuan Walker gets the ball in the Cole Hamels day. It's just funny to say out loud. My major takeaway from a lengthy interview I had years ago with Cole Hamels was the world bleeping champions quote of Chase Utley. And it was one of these things where we did the interview and we wrapped it up and Cole was hanging out in the studio and we're all talking, and Cole's like, oh man, when Chase Utley said world bleeping champions, that was like, we all were like, no way, he's not going to do it. He's not going to say it. And then he said it, and we're like, yeah, that's incredible. And he like told this great story about it, and like about how like the team reacted to it. And I was like, Cole, I know you already said goodbye, but can you hang out for another minute and just tell that story? He's like, yeah, okay, man, cool. And he just hung out for longer in the studio. And I tee him up for it, and he goes, I know everybody reacted like they were shocked, but like if you know Chase, he is a man of few words. He really picks his spots. And we all knew that he was really hyped up, like out of like Chase Utley was hyped up, you know? And when he said it, he just summed it up for all of us because that's a phrase we all had been saying nonstop for the previous 48 hours. And it was just out of character, sure, for Chase. But when he chose his words, he always chose them wisely. And he was I don't know how you would describe it. Like words per impact, he only needs 2 words, 3 words in this case to make a big impact, and that was Chase Utley. But man, watching Cole Hamels deal in 2008 in the postseason, that was something special. Every single, you saw him coming up next in the rotation or whatever. It was just like, oh, Phillies win. Phillies win. That was so locked in, and then so disappointing in 2009. And then throwing the no-hitter in his last game at Wrigley. My experience watching that game and Odubel Herrera coming up with the catch in center field, barely, good God. I don't know if you guys know the drinking game around the world, but in Fairmount, where I used to live in Philly, it just so happened that some of my wife's like best friends from college all lived in Fairmount. They all moved to Fairmount. Like there was this big migration to Fairmount. And we all lived like a couple blocks of one another. And we get to the first house, and it was an afternoon game at Wrigley. I remember we get to the first house, our friend Audrey's house. And I say, hey, the Phillies are starting soon. Do you mind if I turn on the Phillies game? And they're like, no. So then me and a couple other guys are watching the Phillies, and I'm like, oh, Cole looks really on today, And then I watched like the first 2 innings there. We went to the next house, and I watched the next couple innings, and I'm like, man, Cole's this is great, like 4 scoreless, And then next house, and it's like 5th, 6th inning now. It's like, okay, wow, next house. I'm like, we are not leaving. We are not going anywhere. And around the world, basically just drinking at different people's houses. So everyone hosts essentially that day. And then the party ended at our house. And we, of course, I had made a big pot of meatballs for everyone because, you gotta eat something. You're drinking all day. And we celebrated the no-hitter. So I watched Cole Hamels, toast everybody in the locker room with a big meatball sandwich in my hands. And those are my takeaways from Cole Hamels' career. At least enjoying his career while he was here in Philadelphia. And I remember him coming up. Pat Gillick brought him up to start against the Reds in his first big league start. And I remember being really amped up for that and being ready to watch what was going to be an incredible Phillies career. And that devastating changeup, man. The ability he had for the same arm slot, same arm speed, made it look exactly the same as his fastball. Man, that was something. Just guys in full, like, taking a bow as a performer every single time. Just every time flailing away at that changeup, man. That was something. And then there was the curveball to Andy Pennant in the 2009 World Series. Damn it, Cole. No. But absolutely love Cole Hamels, man. Absolutely. Morning Rush, there it is. Phillies back at 6:40 tonight against Diamondbacks. They start this weekend series tomorrow night. Weird, by the way. So 6:40 is this game on Apple TV tomorrow night. And then I think they got a 4:05 start time on Saturday. By the way, if you're a loyal watcher of the postcasts, I will not be doing the postcast on Saturday. I have a wedding. My little cousin, my baby cousin's getting married. My baby cousin. She's getting married, so I'll be there. I won't be doing the postcast that day. But I will be back for Sunday's 11:45 game. What time is that game on Sunday? 11:35 on Sunday. I will be doing that. So there you go. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. This is the Farzy Show, presented by MyBookie, mybookie.ag. Lovely to have you along for the ride. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Make sure you hit like and subscribe on the Locked On Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. Make sure you like and subscribe on the Jacob Media YouTube channel. Make sure you like and subscribe to the Farzy Show YouTube channel as well. I'll be back with you guys tomorrow morning to preview a little bit more of this Arizona Diamondbacks series. See you guys then. Bye.